Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive.
Always exciting.
I know, right?
Really?
Today, we're diving into something pretty fascinating. It's all about not just, surviving,
Right.
but really like thriving
Okay, yeah.
when everything's kind of going crazy around you.
Yeah.
So get this.
Okay.
The source we're looking at today basically says
Okay.
that maybe there's a way we can not only get through those tough times, but like actually benefit from all the chaos.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Pretty wild, right?
That's a really interesting concept.
It is. It
Yeah.
all comes from this YouTube audiobook.
Okay.
It's called Thriving No Matter What, How to Succeed in a Chaotic World.
Okay.
It's written by Anand
Okay.
and narrated by Jim Callahan.
Got it.
So what really caught my attention was this word,
Oh.
AKSHAYA.
AKSHAYA.
It's a Sanskrit word,
Interesting.
and it basically means like imperishable
Okay.
or that which never diminishes. And it got me thinking,
Is it really possible to become so resilient,
Mhm.
so adaptable,
yeah.
that we actually gain when things get disrupted?
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, can we actually benefit from the chaos?
I mean, it sounds almost impossible.
I know, it's kind of mind-blowing, but that's what we're going to dive into today.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so the book kicks off
Yeah.
by connecting this idea of AKSHAYA
Mm-hmm.
to a concept you might have heard of, Nassim Taleb's idea of anti-fragility.
Oh, yeah. Taleb. Yeah,
Are you familiar with that one?
absolutely.
Yeah.
He argues that some things actually gain from disorder, right? Like they get stronger
Yes.
because of stress,
Yeah,
like our bones.
exactly.
They get denser when we put weight on them, when we exercise.
Perfect example.
Yeah,
So instead of just bouncing back to normal after a setback,
right.
imagine if we actually become better because of it. That's the whole idea of anti-fragility.
Yeah.
And this book is basically saying that AKSHAYA is like its ultimate expression.
Okay, so AKSHAYA is not about avoiding tough times altogether.
Right.
It's more about having a system
Yes.
that thrives on them.
You got it. It's like,
Okay.
think of it like this. AKSHAYA is this state of like ever-growing abundance, a victory over like the limits of time and circumstance.
Okay. Yeah.
And the book even references this thing called the AKSHAYA Patra.
AKSHAYA Patra.
It's this like mythical bowl that never empties.
Oh, wow.
So it symbolizes, limitless potential.
So it's not about like getting rich or just collecting good karma.
No, not at all.
It's more about building up this inner strength
Yes.
that can handle anything.
Yes, you're totally getting it.
Okay, good.
It's about building systems in our lives.
Yeah.
Our skills, our mindset,
Yeah.
resources
Yeah.
that can like weather any storm.
I like that. So how do we actually do that?
Well, the book breaks down this concept of AKSHAYA into 13 principles.
Okay.
Each one gives us a different angle on how to thrive when things are chaotic.
Makes sense.
And they jump right into the importance of flexibility,
Yeah.
which, when you think about it, it makes total sense.
Right, if things are unpredictable.
Exactly. You got to be flexible.
Yeah.
And to illustrate this, they use this classic example, Blockbuster versus Netflix.
Oh, the tale of Blockbuster.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember those stores.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
Big blue and gold.
Huge, right.
Yep.
And they kind of messed up.
Yeah.
They really clung to that, like, in-store rental model.
Yeah, the physical stores.
Right. Even when it was clear things were moving online.
They were stubborn, yeah.
Super stubborn. Yeah.
So Netflix adapted, right?
Exactly. They were all about change, constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And look at them now. They're a global giant.
It's incredible. They really understood how to evolve with the times.
It's a great example of how crucial it is to be adaptable.
Totally.
And it's not just about reacting to the outside world changing, Sometimes it's about embracing those unexpected turns in our own lives. Like, the book talks about Steve Jobs
Oh, wow.
getting fired from Apple,
Yeah.
the company he co-founded.
Yeah, crazy.
That must have been devastating at the time.
Hard to imagine, right? Apple without Steve Jobs.
Right. It's a huge setback.
Totally. But it actually forced him to try new things.
Interesting.
And that's how NextT was born.
Oh, right.
And NextT eventually brought him back to Apple
Yeah.
with all these fresh ideas,
Yeah.
the iMac, the iPod, the iPhone.
Wow.
Like, who knows if those would have happened if he hadn't been, pushed out of his comfort zone,
That's fascinating.
isn't it?
Yeah.
What seemed like a massive failure actually became a catalyst for all this innovation.
And led to even more success.
Exactly. And it underscores this really important idea,
That's what it is.
outcome independence.
Okay. What's that?
So it's about making decisions based on what we think is right,
Okay.
without being super attached to a specific outcome. Because sometimes what seems bad
Right.
actually leads to something better.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
that saying, when one door closes.
Another one opens.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it takes a certain level of trust, right?
Oh, for sure.
Trusting the process.
Yeah, even when it throws you curveballs,
Absolutely.
which can be hard.
Oh, totally. And that's where the book's second principle comes in.
Oh, okay.
It's karma yoga.
Karma yoga.
Yeah. And I know what you're thinking, right?
Well, yeah, I'm picturing a bunch of people in, like, complicated yoga poses.
I get it. Me too.
Okay, good. It's not just me.
But actually, karma yoga is less about the physical poses and more about cultivating this mindset of selfless action.
Selfless action. Okay, so how does that help us navigate chaos?
So it's all about shifting our focus from the outcome to the act itself.
Okay.
In Sanskrit, it's called karma phala tyaga.
Karma phala tyaga.
Which means, like, letting go of the fruits of our actions.
Okay, so break that down for me.
Okay, so think about it this way. When we're super focused on a specific outcome,
Right.
we set ourselves up for disappointment.
Yeah. What if we fail?
Exactly. Like, what if it doesn't go as planned?
Right.
But if we shift our focus to just doing the right thing, putting in our best effort
Yeah.
without getting hung up on the results,
Uh-huh.
we free ourselves from all that pressure and anxiety.
That's a really interesting way to think about it.
Right. It's like we liberate ourselves.
Yeah, it's counterintuitive though, right?
It is. Because we're always told...
Set goals, visualize success.
Exactly. But this book is saying focusing too much on our own well-being can actually backfire.
Interesting.
It creates this sense of lack, scarcity, and that can actually stop us from thriving.
So it's not about abandoning goals altogether.
No, not at all.
But finding a balance, right?
Yes, a balance between striving for excellence and surrendering to, how things unfold.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that actually ties directly into the book's third principle.
Okay, what's that?
Independence.
Independence. So like not relying on others.
Exactly. Not depending on others for happiness or success.
Okay.
It's not about isolating yourself or rejecting help.
Yeah.
It's about being self-sufficient.
Got it.
Being able to think for yourself, make your own decisions, and not need constant validation from other people.
It reminds me of Michael Porter's value chain.
Yes.
Where like getting advice from experts is important.
Absolutely.
But we shouldn't become completely dependent on them.
Exactly.
We need to be able to think critically ourselves.
Yes. Make our own informed decisions.
Yeah.
And the book highlights some really inspiring examples.
Oh, like who?
Like Diana Nyad.
Diana Nyad.
Yeah, the swimmer.
Oh, right.
At 64 years old, she swam from Cuba to Florida.
Wow.
That's 110 miles.
That's insane.
And without a shark cage.
Wow. Talk about self-reliance.
Right. Incredible mental and physical strength. Absolutely.
And then there's Aaron Ralston.
Aaron Ralston, the climber.
Yes, the mountain climber.
Yeah.
He had to make the agonizing decision to amputate his own arm.
Oh, wow.
After being trapped by a boulder for 5 days.
Yeah, I remember that story.
It's extreme, obviously.
Definitely not for the faint of heart.
No. But it shows how crucial resourcefulness is.
In dire situations, yeah.
Exactly.
And the human will to survive, it's incredible.
It is. It shows that even in the darkest times, we have this inner strength that can help us overcome, like, impossible challenges.
Yeah.
But remember, independence doesn't mean rejecting all help.
Right.
It's about, striking a balance. Knowing when to seek guidance.
Yeah, okay.
But still maintaining your ability to think for yourself.
Gotcha. So not becoming lone wolves, but empowering ourselves to handle whatever comes our way.
Exactly. And the book suggests a pretty interesting concept for cultivating that independence.
Oh, what's that?
They call it reasonable minimalism.
Reasonable minimalism. Yeah, it's not about, like, extreme deprivation or anything.
Okay, so what makes it reasonable?
It's about making conscious choices to prioritize the things that truly matter.
Okay.
Whether that's material possessions, relationships, commitments, or even the information we consume.
So like decluttering our life.
You got it.
Okay.
Imagine having only the things that bring you joy.
Yeah.
Or that serve a practical purpose. Think about simplifying your schedule.
Yeah.
Prioritizing the relationships that actually nourish you.
Okay.
And becoming more discerning about the information you let into your mind.
Interesting.
Filtering out the noise,
So creating space for what truly matters.
Exactly. And it sounds like a path to clarity and focus.
It does. But how does this connect to independence?
So by simplifying our lives
Yeah.
and reducing our reliance on external things,
Okay.
possessions, approval from others,
Yeah.
even constant digital stimulation,
Mm-hmm.
we create more space for self-reliance to emerge.
We free ourselves from all those unnecessary attachments.
Yeah, like mental baggage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that gives us a more solid foundation
Okay.
for navigating all the ups and downs of life.
I never thought of minimalism that way,
Right.
but it makes sense.
It's not about deprivation.
Right.
It's about conscious choice.
Yeah, choosing what matters.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so we've got flexibility, karma yoga, and reasonable minimalism,
Right, the first three principles.
all working together to help us thrive in a chaotic world.
Yeah. And there's so much more to explore.
I can't wait.
But let's take a pause here.
Okay.
We'll pick up the conversation in part 2 of this deep dive.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay, so ready to jump back into those AKSHAYA principles.
Let's do it. We left off with those first three.
Flexibility, karma yoga, and reasonable minimalism.
Exactly. Which, as we discovered, are all about building a strong foundation.
Yeah, for dealing with a world that's constantly changing.
Right, a world that throws us curveballs all the time. But the book doesn't stop there.
No, it doesn't. It goes on to this concept of scalability.
Scalability.
Yeah, which might sound like, a business term.
Yeah, it makes me think of companies,
Right.
like how they handle growth
Right.
without things falling apart.
Exactly. Like, imagine a tech startup that can handle millions of new users
Right.
without its system crashing,
Yeah, that's scalability.
That's scalability. But the book takes this idea beyond the business world.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's suggesting we can apply it to our personal lives, too. It asks, how can we make our efforts have a bigger impact?
Okay, so it's not just about working harder.
No, it's about working smarter.
I like that.
Right. Think about a studio musician.
Okay.
They record a track once,
Yeah.
and it can be used in tons of different projects,
Right.
making money even when they're not actively working.
It's generating value on its own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then compare that to, say, a live performer.
Okay, yeah.
They can only be in one place at one time.
Right. Limited by their physical presence.
Exactly.
So the studio musician, their work is more scalable.
Yes, it keeps generating value even when they're not doing anything.
That's really interesting.
Right. And the book suggests we can apply this to, our skills, our time management, even household chores.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
mastering a valuable skill can open up so many opportunities.
Not just one specific job.
Exactly. Or creating systems for tasks.
Yeah.
Frees up time and mental energy for other things.
So it's like maximizing our efforts without burning ourselves out.
Yes, exactly. Think about the Blue Man Group.
Oh, yeah.
They have multiple teams performing all over the world at the same time.
Right. They've scaled their art.
They've scaled their art. And that brings us to a principle that you might not expect.
Okay, what's that?
Transparency.
Transparency, like being honest and open.
Exactly. And it's not just about ethical behavior.
Okay.
The book says transparency can actually protect us.
Protect us. How so?
If you're always open about your actions and your intentions, it's harder for rumors or accusations to stick.
So it's like you have nothing to hide.
Right. The book gives this example of a politician accused of taking bribes.
Okay.
If their finances are already public,
Yeah.
the accusation won't be as believable.
Right, because it's all out in the open.
Exactly. Or a business accused of unethical practices. If they've been transparent about their supply chain,
Yeah.
it's harder for those accusations to gain traction.
Makes sense. Transparency builds trust
Exactly.
and makes it harder for false information to spread.
Exactly. Now, let's move on to a principle that's all about speed,
Okay, speed. Got it.
but not the kind you might be thinking of.
Okay.
It's not about rushing or making hasty decisions.
So what kind of speed are we talking
It's
about?
called response speed.
Response speed. Okay.
So being able to react quickly and effectively to the unexpected.
Oh, that makes sense. Especially in a chaotic world.
Right. But here's where it gets interesting. The book brings in this concept called Wu Wei.
Wu Wei.
Yeah, it's a Taoist principle.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
It's about non-action, basically.
Non-action. So like doing nothing.
Exactly. The idea that sometimes the best response is to just let things unfold.
That seems counterintuitive, doesn't it?
It does.
Like how can doing nothing be the best course of action in a chaotic situation?
I know, right? It sounds weird, but it's not about passivity or indifference.
Okay.
It's about knowing when to take action and when to just observe and wait.
So it's about discernment.
Exactly. The book gives a couple of really good examples.
Like what?
So there's John Paul DeJoria.
Okay.
He co-founded Paul Mitchell Hair Products.
Yeah, I know Paul Mitchell.
So his company was on the verge of bankruptcy.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't just sit around.
Yeah.
He took action. He started calling salons directly,
Oh.
selling products, pure hustle.
That's response speed.
That's response speed, and it saved his company.
Wow. So in a crisis, taking action is key.
Sometimes, yeah. But then the book also mentions this woman.
Right.
Her construction business actually boomed after Hurricane Sandy.
Really?
Yeah, she didn't force anything.
Hmm.
She just let the need for her services arise naturally from the chaos.
So stepping back allowed the opportunity to come to her.
Exactly.
Wow, that's interesting.
Right. It's not always easy to know when to act and when to practice wu-wei.
It takes intuition. Right.
Right, definitely. And trust in the process.
Yeah, trusting that things will work out.
Exactly. Now, what do you think about this next principle?
Okay, what's next?
Personal portability.
Personal portability.
Yeah, it's all about being adaptable.
Yeah.
By having a, less is more approach to possessions, plans, even location.
So like a minimalist lifestyle?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
It's about developing a, nomadic mindset.
Nomadic mindset.
Yeah, being willing to move, adapt, experience new things
Yeah.
without being weighed down by stuff.
Okay, so being light on your feet.
Exactly. The book talks about Kirsty Henderson. She's a digital nomad.
Oh, interesting.
She actually thrived during the COVID lockdowns.
Oh, really? How so?
Because she wasn't tied to any specific location. She could adapt way easier than people who were.
That makes sense.
Right. She had the flexibility
Yeah.
to just adjust to that new reality.
Without being stuck in one place.
Exactly.
That's a great example.
And then there's Jim Koch.
Jim Koch.
Yeah, the founder of
Yeah.
Samuel Adams Beer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
His company was struggling, so he literally hit the road in a van.
What?
Yeah, selling his beer directly to bars and restaurants.
Wow. That's dedication.
That's personal portability.
Yeah.
His willingness to move and adapt
Saved his company.
saved his company. And these examples really show
Yeah.
how being untethered to a fixed location or routine
Yeah.
can be a huge advantage.
In a world that's unpredictable.
Exactly. And that adaptability is crucial
Definitely.
when it comes to the next two principles.
Okay, hit me.
Tolerance for misinformation.
Yeah.
And tolerance for a lack of information.
Oh, those are important ones.
Super important, especially nowadays.
Right. We're constantly bombarded with information.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, and it's hard to know what's true and what's not.
Exactly. So the book emphasizes the importance of having a critical eye,
Okay.
questioning sources, filtering the noise.
Right. Not just believing everything you see.
Exactly.
So tolerance for misinformation.
Yeah.
It's not about being passive.
No, not at all.
It's about actively engaging with information.
Yes. Thinking critically
Yeah.
and being able to tell fact from fiction.
And it also means not getting overly emotional about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being able to tolerate the existence of misinformation.
Right. Not letting it throw you off balance. It's
Exactly.
like maintaining your inner peace.
Yes, exactly. And then there's the flip side,
Which is,
tolerance for a lack of information.
oh, that's a tough one.
Eh.
We're so used to having all the answers at our fingertip.
Right. But in chaotic situations, you often don't have all the facts.
Yeah, that's true.
So tolerance for a lack of information means
Okay.
being okay with ambiguity, making decisions with what you do have,
Yeah.
and being open to adjusting as you learn more.
So being comfortable with uncertainty
Exactly. Trusting your intuition, your ability to assess risks.
and to adapt as things change.
Exactly.
Both types of tolerance sound like they require a lot of emotional resilience.
They do. And the book suggests practices like mindfulness and CBT,
CBT.
cognitive behavioral therapy,
Oh, right. Okay.
can help build that resilience.
So it's about learning to manage our emotions.
Exactly. Especially when faced with too much information.
Or not enough.
Exactly. Cultivating inner calm amidst all the chaos.
I like that.
Right. Now, are you ready for the next principle?
Hit me with it.
It's all about speed.
Speed again.
Okay. But a different kind of speed.
All right. I'm intrigued.
It's learning speed.
Learning speed.
Yeah, the ability to not just absorb information,
Okay.
but to process it, connect it, and apply it quickly.
So Turning knowledge into action.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The book talks about people who thrived after the pandemic by quickly learning new skills.
Oh, like what?
Some learned to sew and started making masks.
Oh.
Others became online tutors.
Right.
Some even learned about cryptocurrency.
Wow, they adapted quickly.
They did. They saw a need, learned the skills, and adapted.
That's resilience for sure.
And there's this great example from the world of philanthropy.
Oh, tell me about it.
So there's this guy, Charles Best.
Right.
He founded DonorsChoose.org.
I've heard of that.
So he was a teacher, frustrated by the lack of resources in his classroom.
Yeah, that's a common problem.
It is. So he took matters into his own hands.
What did he do?
He taught himself coding and fundraising.
Wow.
And created this platform that's now raised over $700 million for classrooms.
That's incredible.
It is. He saw a problem and took action.
Amazing example of learning speed.
Right. And using it to make a difference.
Totally.
So how do we boost our own learning speed?
Yeah. Are there any tips in the book?
The book emphasizes setting clear goals.
Okay.
Breaking down complex tasks into smaller steps. Embracing failure as a learning opportunity.
Yeah, that's important.
It is. And finding the learning methods that work best for you.
So, like, figure out your learning style.
Exactly. Whether it's reading, podcasts, online courses.
Yeah.
It's about finding what works for you and pushing yourself.
I like that. So it's about cultivating a growth mindset.
Yes.
Recognizing that learning is a lifelong process.
Absolutely. And speaking of journeys, that leads us to the next principle.
Okay, what's that?
Collaboration.
Collaboration, the power of teamwork.
Exactly. The book emphasizes pooling resources,
building
support systems, and being open to new perspectives that come from working together.
And diversity is important here, right?
Absolutely. The more diverse the perspectives, the better the solution.
Makes sense.
And the book uses a powerful example.
Oh, what is it?
The Apollo 13 mission.
Oh, man.
It was a life or death situation.
Yeah.
And it was collaboration that saved those astronauts.
Teamwork under pressure.
Exactly. But it wasn't just teamwork.
No.
Individual initiative was crucial, too.
Right. People had to step up and think creatively.
Exactly. It was a balance of collective effort and individual ingenuity.
So finding that sweet spot between working together and empowering individuals to contribute,
you got.
That could be tricky sometimes.
It can, but the book emphasizes something really important.
Oh, what's that?
Maintaining your independence, even within collaboration.
Okay, so not losing your own voice.
Exactly.
Even when you're part of a team.
Yes. It's about actively participating.
Yeah.
Asking questions, offering your own ideas, and not being afraid to disagree.
So ensuring that the collaboration is truly beneficial.
Yes. Where everyone's voice is heard.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does. And it helps prevent groupthink.
Definitely. So we've covered flexibility, karma yoga, reasonable minimalism, scalability, transparency, response speed, personal portability, tolerance for information and the lack of it, learning speed, and collaboration.
Wow, we're making our way through these principles.
We are. What's next?
We're getting close to the end, but the book saves a powerful duo for last.
Okay, what is it?
Patience and persistence.
Oh, the long game.
The long game. Patience is about staying calm.
Yeah.
Not letting setbacks throw you off.
Right. Staying focused.
Exactly. And persistence is about staying committed to your goals.
Yeah. Even when it gets tough.
Even when it gets tough.
Book talks about Elon Musk, right?
Yes. SpaceX faced so many setbacks.
Years of failures, near bankruptcy.
But he never gave up on his vision.
He's definitely persistent.
It's incredible. A testament to the power of persistence.
Yeah, and it wasn't just willpower.
Yeah.
He had to be patient, too.
Exactly. Trusting the process, knowing that big goals take time.
Right. It's not always instant gratification.
Not at all. Patience is not about being passive.
Okay.
It's about strategic timing. Knowing when to push forward and when to step back.
That makes sense.
And trusting that things will work out.
Even when it feels slow.
Exactly.
So it's about balancing commitment with the understanding that things take time.
Yes. And it's not just about these grand visions either.
Okay.
The book also tells the story of Jessica.
Jessica.
Yeah. She wanted to open her own bakery.
Oh, nice.
But she faced a lot of challenges.
Oh, what did she do?
She kept refining her business plan.
Okay.
Got guidance from mentors. even sold her baked goods at farmers markets.
To gain experience.
To gain experience.
That's right.
And build a following.
So persistence doesn't always mean big dramatic actions.
Right.
It can be consistent, small steps.
Exactly. It's about not letting discouragement stop you.
Never giving up.
Never giving up.
Okay, so we've explored all 13 principles.
We have. Flexibility, karma yoga, reasonable minimalism.
Scalability, transparency, response speed, personal portability, tolerance for information, and the lack of it. Learning speed, collaboration, patience, and persistence.
That's quite a toolkit for navigating life.
It is.
Yeah.
What stands out to you the most?
Honestly, they're all so interconnected, it's hard to choose.
I know, right?
But reasonable minimalism really resonated with me.
Yeah.
I've been feeling overwhelmed by all the stuff in my life lately.
I get that.
So I'm thinking about simplifying, decluttering, focusing on what truly matters.
I like that. Making space for what's important.
Exactly. And for me, learning speed really hit home.
Oh, yeah.
It's a reminder to always be learning, growing, expanding my skills.
A lifelong journey.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
We have, and it all comes back to this AKSHAYA mindset.
Yeah.
It's not about avoiding challenges, it's about embracing them.
Using them as fuel for growth.
Exactly. Even in chaos, we have choices.
We do.
We can react with fear.
Yeah.
Or we can respond with creativity and resilience.
And a belief in ourselves.
Exactly.
So if we embrace all these principles, does that mean we, never face hardship again?
Not at all, no.
Okay.
Life is always going to have its ups and downs. It's just part of being human, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
But this AKSHAYA mindset, it's about changing how we relate to those challenges. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks.
Yeah.
What if we saw them as opportunities?
Okay.
Opportunities for growth, learning, even transformation.
I like that. It's like shifting from feeling like a victim to feeling like a creator.
Exactly.
Instead of feeling powerless.
Right.
You feel empowered to shape your own reality.
That's a great way to put it. It's about recognizing that even in chaos, we have choices.
Yeah.
We can choose to react with fear.
Yeah.
Or we can choose to respond with creativity, resilience, a belief in our own ability.
To not just survive, but to thrive.
Exactly.
This AKSHAYA concept has really given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
Yeah, it's like a whole new way of approaching challenges.
It's a reminder that we're not just, at the mercy of external events.
Right.
We have the power to shape our own destiny.
Create a mindset of abundance.
Yes. And find opportunities even when things seem messy.
It's not a solo journey either, right?
Definitely not.
Right.
Collaboration, support systems, learning from others.
Yeah.
Those are all key parts of this AKSHAYA path.
We're all in this together.
We are. And by sharing what we know,
yeah,
our experiences, our resources, we can navigate these complexities together.
And help everyone thrive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This deep dive has been so insightful.
I feel like I have a whole new toolbox for dealing with life.
Me too. So before we wrap things up,
yeah,
I'm curious, what really stood out to you from all these principles?
Honestly, they're all so valuable.
I know, right? It's hard to choose.
It is. But reasonable minimalism really resonated with me.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed by clutter lately.
I get that.
So I'm inspired to simplify, declutter, focus on what's important.
I love that. It's about creating space.
Yes. Space for what truly matters.
And for me, learning speed really hit home.
Oh, yeah.
It's a reminder to never stop learning,
Absolutely. Always growing, expanding our skills.
Embracing that growth mindset.
It's a lifelong adventure.
It is. So this deep dive has been an incredible reminder that even when things feel chaotic, we have the power to create a life of abundance.
A life of meaning.
And that's what AKSHAYA is all about, right?
It is.
It's not about avoiding the tough stuff. It's about using it to grow.
Leaning into challenges.
Exactly. Recognizing that we have the strength to not just survive, but to truly thrive.
No matter what.
No matter what. So to our listeners out there, we leave you with this question. Which AKSHAYA principle will you embrace today?
How will you apply these ideas to create a life that's not just resilient,
but truly extraordinary?
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep thriving.